Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the first session on Virtual Dental Academy. Thank you so much for joining us and for coming here. This session is, of course, on Dentolegal Insights, and that's because nobody can really do without the law on their side, and ignorance of the law is never an excuse, as we know. So, to keep our practices and our patients and everything that we do safe, we just need to know what we are doing, and for that, we have the Dental Legal session. Anyway, thank you, and great you could join us. Now, if you do like this kind of content, please just hit subscribe so that when we come back to this channel and when we have new sessions, you can be a part of it. Now, coming to today, our guest speaker is Dr. Manusmriti Mishra Purohit. She is Associate Professor at Ideas Dental College, Gwalior. She's also an advanced fellow of forensic odontology at D.Y. Patil University, Navi Mumbai. She has a great interest in dental legal aspects of dentistry and has recently also presented, rather published a paper. Our second person is resource expert. So anyway, our second person is Dr. Sanskriti Mishra. She has a doctorate in law and she is our expert today. With that, I'll directly go to the lecture. We will watch the lecture and then we will come back and have our discussion. Thank you so much.
A very good evening to everyone. I am Dr. Manusmriti Mishra Purohit. First and foremost, thanks to respected Mandana ma'am for giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge on this topic on this prestigious platform, which I sincerely follow to update my knowledge as well. Today, I'm going to talk about the topic Dentolegal Insights, where dentistry meets law. As we all know that dentistry and law are two totally separate entities, and at some point they create a gray area. The area which is not actually gray, but it appears to be very scary to all of us. So today I will try to put some light on this area of conjugation for a better understanding of legal implications of our own subject, that is dentistry. Because we all know that law governs every aspect of human activity, and so dentistry is no exception here. Law is basically a set of rules enforceable by the judicial system of our own country. I'll be covering this topic under the following headings. Like, we'll talk about dental legal and medical legal issues. We'll talk about dental ethics, liability and responsibility, what is code of ethics, what is dental negligence, some common laws related to dentistry, dentist as an expert witness. We'll talk about teledentistry, and in the end, we'll talk about solicitors in the dental practice. So let's move to what is medical legal or dental legal. So medical legal cases are those cases where a doctor, after obtaining a history of a patient or after doing the clinical examination, thinks that some legal interference is required in accordance to the law of that state or that land. So this is where our responsibility starts to recognize the case as a dentist. So as if we find such a situations in our clinic or our hospital, that could be called as a dental legal case. Now let's talk about what is dental ethics. So ethics is, in another words, can be called as morals. It is derived from a Greek term custom or character, which talks about rights, responsibilities, what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong. So let's understand what are the principles of ethics. The first principle is non-maleficence. The second principle is beneficence. Then autonomy and justice. They are the four pillars which are making the principles of ethics. Along with that, we should also know about what is respect, what is veracity or truthfulness, what is confidentiality. So let's begin with non-maleficence. Non-maleficence, which means that to do no harm. In simple terms, we can understand that as a dentist, you are ethically bound not to create any harm to the patient. Like, if you are doing any surgery, you are ethically bound not to create too much trauma to the patient. Or in other terms, we can say that not taking X-ray for so long is not ethical, because if you are not taking X-ray for so long, you are indirectly imparting some illness to the patient. So as a doctor, you should not impart any kind of illness or any kind of pain to the patient. Then the second thing is beneficence. Like, it means kindness or generosity. So this is a moral obligation of dentists to work in that manner that it will benefit the patient in every sense. The third thing is autonomy. Autonomy means it is up to the patient whether he wants to accept the treatment or not. He has a right to know about what treatment protocol you are going to follow. He has all the right to know about his treatment, what you are going to give him. So, and after knowing that, he is able to decide whether he wants to go for that treatment or not. So, a fourth one is justice. Justice means you cannot decline a patient on the basis of race or gender or any kind of illness he's having. If a patient of HIV comes to you and you are saying, no, I will not treat you, so that is also very unethical. So, these are the four principles. Then, along with that, we should know about what is respect. Respect is something that you should give to your patient, even if he has come to you for taking some benefit from you. But yes, there should be mutual respect for each other. And the next thing is veracity or truthfulness. Like you should be truthful to the patient. You should tell him what exactly the disease he is having. You should not hide anything from him. Whatever the diagnosis is, you should tell him in a balanced way. There are situations where you cannot tell the patient, but they are the exceptions. Otherwise, you are bound to tell the patient all the every kind of situation, every kind of diagnosis, whatever he is having. The next is confidentiality. Confidentiality means you are bound to maintain confidentiality of your patient. You are not allowed to discuss the sensitive details of the patient with any of your colleague without the permission of the patient or with anybody else without his consent. So now comes the code of ethics. The code of ethics is a very big document, and we are aware of what is ethics. Every code has been provided in this document. So they came into force on date of their publication in Official Gazette of India, and it consists of 7 chapters. And these chapter talks about the general code of ethics, then what are the duties and obligations of the dentist towards each other, towards the society, towards their patients. And the sixth chapter talks about the unethical practices, and the seventh chapter talks about the punishment and disciplinary actions. So it is very important document, and every dentist should have good knowledge of this. Now we'll try to understand between the differences of liability and responsibility. So liability is the state of being responsible for something, or I should say legally responsible for something or answerable for. And responsibility is something moral. A duty to deal with something is called as responsibility. Now what is liability? Liability is of three types. That is contractual, tortious, and criminal. And contractual liability means if you are bound in contract with somebody, it becomes your liability to fulfill that. It is again of two types, that is implied and expressed. Implied liability says that when a patient comes to you, he opens his mouth and he has paid the fees, he has come on your dental chair, and you have started to to examine the patient. He becomes your liability, means you have to complete the treatment anyhow, uh, except in few situations when you are not competent enough to perform that function or that kind of treatment. Then if a patient doesn't want to go for further treatment, in these situations you can dismiss the patients. Otherwise, this is your contract with him and you have to fulfill that. Then the second one is express liability. That is, there is a document signed between you two, just like memorandum of understanding. Then the second is the tortious liability. So basically, tort is the action by one party which comes under civil law, and that's why it is called as a civil liability. When that action is done by one person, that is called as self liability. And vicarious liability is what you bear on behalf of the other person. Like if you are if your dental hygienist has performed some misconduct, you will be responsible for that, you will be liable for that. In law they say, like a master servant relationship. If the servant has committed something, the master is responsible for that. Then the third one is criminal liability, which are mentioned in the Indian Penal Code sections, mentions about the culpability and the liabilities. Then next thing is duties and responsibilities of the dentist. So it is there is a long list of those duties and responsibilities which is given in the revised Dentist Code of Ethics Regulation 2014. And these duties and responsibilities are must to know for a dentist. First important duty is, there is a long list, so I have chosen some important topics which comes in day to day practices. So first one is maintenance of dental records, which should be for the minimum period of 3 years and issued to the authorities if they are asking for them within 72 hours. The next is prescription of drugs. Try to prescribe the drug in generic form. No commercialization is accepted here. And if even if you are, because every brand is not available everywhere, it is convenient for the patient as well. And if you are writing any brand, it is advisable to write a generic, in the bracket you can write that generic composition also. And the third thing is demote the unethical practices. Dentists also owe a duty to demote unethical practice by other dentists or any unethical conduct. If you have noticed something like child abuse, elderly abuse, or domestic violence, it is your duty to inform the legal authorities about it. Then next is, they should only sign the authentic certificates. You should not sign any fake certificates. Sometimes patients come to you that please sign the certificate for me. This is not ethical, so do not sign it. And if due to an in any circumstances you are signing a genuine report also, then it is advisable that you keep a copy signed by the patient himself. And you have to keep it with yourself in your records as well. Then next is, follow the rules and regulations of your country. Look for the recent amendments. Then he should give the highest quality assurance in the patient care. Then next is conduction of educational meetings like CDEs, CMEs, and camps. Whatever beneficial is beneficial for the society, you should conduct that kind of activity so that maximum people can be benefited. Then the next very important thing is confidentiality of the patient. It is to be maintained in the ethics also. We have discussed about it. You are not allowed to talk about the your patient's details or the disease if the patient is not allowing to do so. Then next thing is, you should know about the life-saving protocols also. It may be required anytime, anywhere, like basic life support, then the cardiopulmonary resuscitation. You should be well aware of that. Then consent. Consent is itself is a very big topic, but it is required before commencing of any treatment, because this is the sole document which can save you from any charge of dental negligence. If any kind of circumstance comes to you, the consent is a very important document. And as I'm saying that you should, consent is of various type, so you should take whatever is required in that situation. Like it could be implied consent, it could be expressed consent. So any kind of consent which is relevant there, you should take it from the patient. Now, as we all know what is ethical, it is very easy to know what is unethical. So unethical advertisement, it to advertise yourself in unethical way, making your false unpractical promises, like there some people write don't pay if you don't get any relief. Such kind of practices are unethical. Then printing your picture to commercialize something is also unethical. Then don't try to solicit the patient directly or indirectly. Then dental surgeon may patent surgical instruments, they do, and appliances also sometimes, and any kind of procedure or methods invented by them, but it should be available to the society or to the patient or whoever is requiring it. In such circumstances, you are bound to give it to other people. Then dentists should also not sell or run any kind of medicines or appliances in open shop, because it is considered that you are commercializing that thing, you are taking advantage from it, so it is also unethical. Then the next is undue rebates, like just to attract patients. Few dentists do such kind of practices. They solicit the patient, they give unusual rebates to the patient, then commissions to the people who are referring them some patients. So it is also considered unethical. Then don't dispense any kind of drug or medicine whose composition is not known to you or not mentioned in the tablet. So it is always advisable that you write only the drugs whose ingredients are well written in the leaflet. Then the very important topic of this subtopic of this presentation is dental negligence. So, dental negligence, according to Honorable Supreme Court of India, to consider an act to be negligent, there should be a chronological order of these four things. Like with an example, I will try to explain this. If a patient comes to you and you extracted the tooth of that patient, and somehow the root are remained in the socket only, and you didn't inform the patient, after a few days he comes to you for the checkup and he is having pain, and you are just giving him antibiotics and analgesics, you have not committed any attempt to remove those roots, and after sometimes some kind of infection develops, or any further complication has developed, so there is a damage because of your that act. You have not fulfilled the your duties properly, so this will be called as a dental negligence, because there was a duty, as it is clearly written here, that dentists owe a certain standard of care, that was your duty, and there was a breach in that duty. You didn't extracted that tooth properly, and you didn't maintain that standard, then it caused an injury from that, like lack of care means you have extracted the tooth when that was not extracted properly, and there was a causation of the injury and it has created some damage to the patient, then this will come under the negligence act. Now, when will it not be called as negligent? So there are situations where the patient, you are not required to take any, consent from the patient, like in emergency. In fact, it's your duty to give the patient primary care first and think about these consents and everything later. And patient's dissatisfaction, like patient may not be satisfied with the progression of the treatment if their expectations are too high, but it won't be considered a negligent act. Then charging exorbitant according to the patient. If patient thinks that it is too much, it is better that you write in your waiting room or somewhere, the list should be there, so that patients, before commencing the treatment, the list is there, patient has accepted your fees or your charges, because every dentist give what kind of services he is providing. On the basis of that, they decide their fees. It should not be too high, but the patient should know about it before commencement of the treatment. Then the fourth thing is patient does not follow advice. That's why few dentists write it on their prescription only, that what are the instructions to be followed after the tooth extraction. So it is always advisable to write each and everything, the maintenance of the record, your recall of the patient, yeah, what procedure you have done, what when did you call the patient, so you have a proof that you gave the patient an advice and he didn't follow. So these things can save you from later litigation processes. Now, next very important thing is teledentistry. As we all know that the widespread use of teledentistry is there after pandemic, and it has mainly advantages such as maintenance of social distancing in aviation, long flights, trains, rural areas where it is not easy to reach, and it is found time saving for the doctors and the patient as well, and it is convenient for the elderly patient if you want to do a checkup, although it is more useful in telemedicine. But sometimes if you want to consult the patient or you just want to know whether he is fine or not, teledentistry can be practiced. So it has several advantages, but as everything has, it has few disadvantages also. Like dentistry is based on tactile sensation, and majority of the procedures need physical interventions. It can't beat the power of conventional systems. Along with that, a lot of ethical legal issues can also arise while you are practicing this teledentistry. So these are the issues which can arise while you are practicing it. That is data protection and safety, then licensing of the software you are using, then malpractice due to misdiagnosis due to technical errors, then any breach in the privacy or security due to virus or anything else, that will also be your liability. Then the fifth thing is problems may also arise due to the technical errors. We Every dentist is not so techno friendly, so it becomes very difficult for a few people, and every patient is also not very techno friendly, so it becomes difficult for both of them to consult by that means. So care should be taken while you are practicing teledentistry. So what kind of precautions you can take. Like take proper consent. If the patient is ready to take your consultation through teledentistry, then only go ahead. Then put your best efforts in protecting the data of the patient, whatever data he has provided, whether it is in the form of OPGs or the pictures, anything. Then don't transfer the data by unethical means. Don't transfer them here and there if the patient has not allowed it to you. Then some common acts like the Dentist Act of 1948. This Dentist Act of 1948 came into force on 29th March of 1948. That's why the name is 1948. And it basically regulate the profession of dentistry, and it mainly gives information and establish the legalities for DCI, state councils, then what is dentistry, who are dentist, dental hygienist. It is basically divided into 5 chapters for ease of understanding. And it mentions about the registers, that we all should be registered in the registers of those dentist act. So it gives a brief information, or I should say detailed information about it. Then Consumer Protection Act. Consumer Protection Act is a very important act because it is called as CPA or COPRA 2019, which states that all the health care services come under this CPA. Then along with a brief knowledge of some vital statutory provisions like IPC, there are several sections are there, what you should know about. Along with that, some more important acts are there, like the list is there in front of you, in which biomedical waste management is a very important act, and there is a act which is not applied to all over the states, but the clinical establishment act is also there, but it doesn't apply to every part of India. Then, dentist as an expert witness. This discussion will be incomplete if I don't talk about this point. So, anytime we can be asked for an expert opinion, the provision is there in the Indian Evidence Act of 1872. When courts need the opinion from the expert of the relevant field, you may be called for, personal identification. You or the forensic odontologist, especially, they can be called for personal identification, age estimations, then professional liability cases like civil or criminal cases. They may ask you for giving your opinions about it. Then disaster victim identification, then criminal investigations like sexual assault, abuse, whether it is child abuse, elderly abuse, and many more like that. Now, even after keeping so many precautions with you, you encounter in such a situation, who will help? So these are the solicitors. A solicitor is lawyer or a legal advisor or an advocate who can give you the best advice for such situations. Just like medical or dental, every legal matter is different and unique. So it is always advisable that you take help from such solicitors, and they are there to help you. There is a quote in law, where there is a right, there is a remedy, which means whenever there is infringement of the right of doctors or the patients, the remedy is already given in those books. So you must be seeing a picture there, and it is written that don't cry, it's just an injection, because a child imbibes whatever is there in the environment. And this picture is made by my daughter while I was making this presentation. So points to remember here are: prevention is always better than cure. Try to conduct ethical practices. Maintain trustful relationship and harmony with the patients, and keep yourself updated with your patients' rights, your rights, because one's rights are others' duty. Keep a track on the recent amendments and legal systems, and keep in touch with a legal advisor. So in the end, don't worry a lot. Trust in God and do the right. And this is the disclaimer of my presentation, because the information in this presentation provides just the basic knowledge of the subject. Further readings are recommended for the completeness and adequacy of the legal knowledge. And these are recommended readings and my references. In the end, I would like to thank ma'am again for this opportunity. I would also like to thank Dr. Sanskriti, from whom I have learned a lot about this complex legal system. And of course, to the audience who could make time to be here with all of us today. Thank you so much.
So, yes, it's time for your questions and your comments, and we will be waiting for that. In the meanwhile, does anybody have any questions? And let me first say, of course, you have not, we started in such a hurry. Let me say thank you, Manusmriti, and thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Sanskriti, for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us this opportunity.
You're both most welcome. So let's see what we have in the comments. Anything? Yes. And hello, everybody. I have seen all the hellos. Hello, everyone. Any questions or comments? Since we also have Dr. Sanskriti with us, do remember she is a doctor because she holds a doctorate in law. So she is the right person to ask if you have any questions there. And right, so we have Dr. Yamuna, who's saying very interesting lecture, informative lecture. And okay, let me ask you, Dr. Manusmurthy, let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
What
ma'am.
have you found, since you have been doing a lot of study on this? So, what have you found is the most challenging for people that you talk to, for dentists, or even for your own practice, to put into actual practice? Reading things is one thing, doing it is an entirely different thing, right? So, what is
Yes,
the
ma'am.
most difficult thing to put in practice?
Ma'am, the most difficult thing we encounter as a dentist while we are practicing is the ethical dilemma. Sometimes we found ourselves stuck in such a situation when two things are coming and you are stuck what to choose. Either you want to go with this principle or you want to. I mentioned about few principles as well, and there is a lot of difficulty in choosing. Like for an example, I will tell an example here is that when we were facing the situation of COVID-19, it was mandatory by a mobile app that you have to inform the government about that the person is COVID positive. And the autonomy says that you have to, or the confidentiality also says that you have to keep all the information in confidence. You should not share it with anybody. But in that situation, you become a part of that dilemma. So in that case, you have to go with the rules made by government, and you have to, if a patient is HIV positive, it has nothing to do with the other people. But if a patient is having any communicable disease, so you have to inform the legal authorities about it, because it can be a threat to other people as well. So this is the most challenging situation what we encounter during the dilemmas. This is just one example, and sometimes most of the situations, other situations can also arise in these senses.
I think important is to remember who you are reporting it to. You can report
Yeah.
it to the authorities, to the right authorities. You cannot at random go and tell others.
Yeah.
That's the
Authorities,
main.
because they know how to keep it confidential, and they will also do some precautions. They are there to do something about it, just not gossiping and looking at you like this that you have COVID, and that kind of situation should not arise. Otherwise, it can create a mental trauma to the patient as well.
Yes, definitely. And there could be a lot of exclusion and a lot of discrimination, which is definitely not to happen. Okay,
Yes,
then we
ma'am.
have a question here from Dr. Nandini. So, how long does the concerned form have to be stored?
The dental records are to be stored for at least 3 years, and if a medical legal case is going on, then this has to be there for 10 years, and up till the time when the medical legal case has not disposed of. So this is the time till which we should maintain all the records relevant to that case.
Right.
And what I want to add some certain important fact also to ma'am, Dr. Nandini ma'am, that this is a very important question required to be put up at this platform, because lots of people doesn't know, and this is actually not a thing which is being under the control and within the knowledge of a doctor in general. So it should be better that in case of any medical legal problem, or in case of any medical legal cases undergone, you should take advices before disposal of the those records with your solicitor or any advocate concerned. So this is also required to be considered at the time of disposing any. And this is also an important fact required to be mentioned here, that at the time of disposal you should circulate the same thing in a vulnerable newspaper, so that before disposing, even the government and the local authorities and other people should also know that we are disposing the same thing in that
Okay, so
regard.
this gets very complex. That means, say, for example, you're supposed to keep it for 3 years,
Yeah.
and there is no case, say, for year whatever. Now we are in
Yes.
23. So, say, let's say from 19 to 22, you did not have any cases again, any medical legal cases, and now in 23, you want to destroy those 3 years, right?
So in
So
that
you have to
condition,
go out and say that I'm destroying these triggers, and then actually not. No, you have to only the 2019 you can destroy. Yes.
yeah.
So each year you have to go out and say, this is the fourth year, and therefore I'm destroying that one. Okay.
So
And in how
basically,
many
ma'am, this
papers
is
you have
yeah.
to give that?
Ma'am, actually, the record keeping is especially there for all the records, like not only medical legal cases, but whatever patients you are treating. The 3 years, minimum period of 3 years is for that. But if some medical legal case is going on, then you have to, then in those special cases, you have to keep that consent or those records for long periods. And only
No,
those periods
that's
are to be informed to the authorities that we are disposing. Otherwise, sometimes the dentists are sued for this, that for some law is there, you cannot play with the evidences. That's why.
true. So, but that is only if there's already a case. But if there were no
Yeah,
cases and
yeah.
you're just
Yes,
destroying,
yeah.
because
Yes, yes,
if
yes.
you
Not for the
someone who has
regular
a
cases,
say
ma'am.
a practice for 30 years, you can't keep on
Yes,
collecting
ma'am.
Yeah,
Right,
of
right.
course,
This is
ma'am,
just for the
absolutely
medical
right.
legal cases.
medical legal cases. Yes. Okay. So let's see. Of course, this is based essentially on the same thing. Patients' records. I think we answered that.
And ma'am, I want to
And
mention one point here. This is for India, and in other countries, the rules can be different. The years of record maintenance can be different.
that is true.
Like I have read somewhere that in a child's case, you have to keep the records for 18 plus 3 years, like for 21 years. So it can be different for different situations and different countries.
Wow. That means till the child becomes an adult. Okay. So we have one more from Dr. Nandini. What if the patient complains after the records are discarded?
Then this is patient's fault because there is a time during which you can file a complaint against any doctor. After some time, Dr. Sanskriti must be knowing better about this. There is a time you can make any complaint. Otherwise, after that period of time, you have published in the newspaper also, he cannot blame you for discarding the, because you have already informed the authorities. The case has been disposed of. So this is not your fault now.
Very rightly said, doctor. Because of the uncertainty, this is not practically possible for a doctor to keep the records, for such a long time. So I think, as we already discussed, is that in the medical legal cases only, the code give you that either keep the record for 10 years or up to the complete disposal of the matter. If the matter is in appeal, you have to exaggerate and you have to keep all those records unless and until even the appeal is being disposed of. And somehow the court is also giving this reflection that before disposal of, there are lots of copies that also being kept into the record of the Indian courts. And this is definitely for the with the opinion to the Indian court only. So they cannot complain for that against any doctor as far as the record of the patient keeping is concerned. So this has also been specifically there in the statutory laws. So they will not have any authority to complain against any doctor as far as the record keeping is concerned.
True. So we have one more question. Is Of course, this is a more a statement that nowadays all the records will be digitalized. Yeah, but I think my comment on this is it may feel like that because it's digitalized, you can store it endlessly. But when you think of a big hospital, even digital documentation is going to cost a hell of a lot to just store.
Yes, ma'am.
Because
Right, right,
then you
ma'am.
need that much of online storage. So even then, they will be probably destroying records, even if it's digital. At this, that's my take. I don't know
Yeah,
what
ma'am.
you all have to
This
say.
is right, ma'am.
Right. So, any other questions? No, I don't think so. We do not have any questions. So, right. So we have a lot of friends with us. Give everybody a chance to put in a question. I shall just tell you. So we have, after a long time, Professor Hill with us from. I am sorry, Professor Joss, I messed that up again. Okay, from South Africa, we have got Dr. Kirti, we have got Dr. Yamuna, Madhuri, Dr. Sangeeta, of course, Nandini, Dr. Priyanka, Dr. Anil, Dr. Sandeep, Dr. Komal, Dr. Sunita, Dr. Likita, hi Likita, Dr. Anshul, Dr. Ashutosh, Dr. Apurva, Dr. Kirti, Dr. Madhu, and I think I'm repeating the names now, and Dr. Gaurav. Yes. Okay, so we got the names also, and yes, Nandini is saying thank you also.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Actually, there were a lot of comments saying a very complete and exhaustive and nice lecture, and that I have to say is true. Thank you. It was really nice. And considering that somehow, even with the recording of the lecture this time, we had a lot of problems.
Yes, ma'am.
This was one. Yes. For all of you all, I think Dr. Manusmriti has recorded that lecture four times. Four times. Before we could.
Anyway,
And it was nothing wrong with the lecture. There were technical things like the sound was not there and stuff like that. So yeah, one of those times it just happens. Yes. And okay, I think we are done. Yes, that's from Professor Jaws. Thank you. Ethics and education is important in South Africa. Yes, I think
thank you,
it
sir.
should be right. Thank you. Okay, so we have that. I think. Oh, okay. That is another thing they need 5 CME credits per year in South Africa. We also have a certain requirement, except I don't think it's on paper. The Dental Council asks us that we should have it, but they have actually never checked it, I think, because I just renewed my registration and they did not ask me. So I don't know. Uh, I think I'm fully believe that on one bright day they're just going to suddenly, put it into action and say, now unless you have this many, you are not getting your registration. And that will be a day when we will have a lot of problem. Okay, so we are done with that. Let's give you your certificates. Thank you, Anuswati. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, ma'am.
It was a lovely lecture and it was very well done. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. And I think about this topic, I want to say something that when we talk about the 360, I think this is the center and this is the periphery because we all are encircled within the laws.
Yes, thank you. That was very well said. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so
And
much for giving this opportunity, ma'am, to me. Because honestly, at one day you were asking me, I think this is the right time to speak up on this, that why I have a big interest in medical legal. Initially, my parents wanted me to be as a doctor, but unfortunately, I am a lawyer. But since there is a blood of, my sister is here in me, and because of that, I have a big inclination in the medical legal field. So that is the reason I always wanted to explore much more into it. Thank
that
you
is
so much
very
for your time.
nice.
It's really nice
Thank
having
you for
sharing
joining
knowledge
us.
on this platform. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. And I must say, on behalf of all the doctors, that we thank you for being interested in the subject. We definitely need help there because, it's very complex. It is
Yes,
very
ma'am.
complex. And especially, like I was saying in the beginning, is that the, uh, the main thing with law is that, anything else you can say, I forgot, I didn't know, but especially that I didn't know. But with the law, it's very clear. Ignorance of the
Yes,
law
ma'am.
is no excuse, and no one will accept it, and certainly not from doctors who are amongst the most highly educated people around.
Yes, ma'am.
So we cannot give that excuse, and sometimes it can ruin a career if you're careless, because it can really land in big problems. So it's a big deal. It's something, and it does keep our patients and us safe And thanks to lawyers like you who are on our side and our patient's side, I would say it has to be, you know, equitable and just. So it has to be, everybody has to be taken care of. But it makes a lot of difference. Okay, we have a, I think this is about our credit points required. 100 points for 5 years? Wow, it seems like a lot. 20 points a year. Okay. Okay, everybody, I think we shall say bye. And I do hope, of course, next week we are back on our regular channel. We will be back on Oral Pathology 360. But on this channel, please, if you like the content, do subscribe so that you will be, informed whenever there is something new. This is going to be more general topics on dentistry, and I do hope you will find it interesting, and I do hope you will comment and let me know what are the sort of things you would like here. With that, let me say bye, and let's end this highly eventful episode. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. See you
Bye,
Bye,
again.
ma'am.
everybody.
Thanks
Bye.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, ma'am.